I'm Greg Jarrett, and you are in the strategy room. There's a battle brewing over those famed Times Square billboards. That's right, there they are, the feds, telling New York City officials they must be removed or the state could lose federal highway funds. Turns out this part of Midtown Manhattan is classified as a highway under the 2012 Transportation Spending Act, which limits the size of billboards. So is this another case of too much government regulation? Here now with reaction, our political strategist Joe Lestingi and Brad Blakeman. Will Brad leave it up to the feds to take what is an otherwise fairly legitimate act of Congress and to bend it so far out of proportion it's absurd?
This is Congress's incompetence at its finest. To think that the billboards in New York City are not beautiful, first of all, tell that to the millions of tourists who come there and spend their money in Times Square. And how crazy is it that 7th Avenue is deemed a highway? I mean, I don't think anybody's ever gone more than 10 miles an hour in Times Square. So this is the kind of thing that government does every once in a while that both Republicans and Democrats should just shake their head at and change immediately. This is not in anybody's interest to have it go any further than it has already.
You know, Joe, we just got word from the mayor's office. They said the following: we're going to fight this, first of all. Second of all, you know, Times Square is under landmark status, so it should be protected from this. And finally, they say, you know what, as Brad is saying, it doesn't really fit under the Highway Beautification Act. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Actually, Brad brought up a really great point here, which is this is one of those unintended consequences that sometimes happens with a law. I mean, if you think about this law was passed in 12, and yet we can't seem to notice this until 2015. So I actually think they're going to work to find a fix to this. This clearly was not their intention. I mean, I will say this: in D.C. we don't have billboards, and it's awesome not having them around the roadways. But in New York City, in Times Square, they're iconic, and they will be protected. I think in the end, we're going to work out. There's going to be a deal. I think this is just a stroke of the pen and some amendments, and we'll be good to go.
Yeah, and by the way, you know, Times Square is a block from here. I'm there all the time. It's actually very, very clean. It's fascinating to just sit there. In fact, they have stands that are built there in the middle of it so people can just sit there and look at those billboards. And Brad, I drove to LaGuardia Airport yesterday, trash strewn all over the highway.
Yeah,
the feds really want to do something. Get out there and clean that mess up.
How about this slogan, clean a real highway? That's what they should be doing. Clean a real highway. Don't destroy a quote-unquote highway that has become not only, as Joe said, iconic, but really a symbol around the world of the technology that America has and the fact that New York stands for so many things, including Times Square in all its glory with its neon and LED lighting. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and you know, Joe, if anybody has any doubts as to whether these billboards are actually beautiful, if not fascinating to really look at, just think of the money and revenue they derive. One Times Square, which operates a lot of them, said they make $23 million a year just from those signs.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, think about the major events that occur in New York every year. So just like Super Bowl ads have an extreme cost to them, these billboards during Fashion Week are probably, the prices are probably jacked up on them, and which brings in tons of tax revenue for the city and the state. Like I said, this is iconic. Think about Las Vegas. Think about the Strip without their neon lights. What would it be? I mean, it'd still be a desert with some buildings, right? I mean, this is something that's going to stay. They're going to work out a deal on this. It's sad that this kind of got swept into it, but like Brad pointed out, this happens, and it's unfortunate. The key is maybe both parties can come together and fix it, because that would be a great opportunity for them to start working together again.
Yeah, and so to the feds who are threatening $90 million in federal highway revenue, I have this message: try to think with those brains of yours. Okay, Joe and Brad, thanks. Check out FoxNews.com for more on this developing story. I'm Greg Jarrett. Thanks for watching.